Hello everybody and welcome back to 14 Days of Sunscreen Day 2. Today we have a more affordable one, especially compared to yesterday. Like I said yesterday, I'm trying to get a whole range, so if that one was too much for you, which understandably so, $75, or no, was it 75? I forget, SPF 75. But it was still very, very expensive. Today's is much more affordable, so I hope that this one, works for some of you who do not want to spend that much money. So without further ado, we are going to jump on in, and today we are reviewing the Australian Gold, what is it called? Botanical Tinted Face BB Cream Matte Finish, Lightweight, Fair to Light Skin Tones. Now I'm just reading every word on the packaging. So without further ado, let's just zoom on in, get started, get going, because I want to get this on my face. I had this back a long, long time ago, and so this is a repurchase, but it's basically a new to me kind of sunscreen. So we're gonna be putting it on and I'm gonna tell you what I think of it. So the last time I tried these, they only had one shade, and now they have 3 shades, which is great. I have the lightest shade. This is Fair to Light. I always kind of go for that versus the medium shade because honestly, I just find it to be too unnatural if it's a medium shade, and I can always darken my complexion with a little bronzer, so that to me is a better approach. So we have our 1/4 teaspoon. As I always say, this is for your neck and your face. I do have a case of poison ivy, so I'm gonna be a little cautious around my neck, but otherwise we're good. So today's sunscreen is the Australian Gold SPF 50 Tinted Face Mineral Lotion. It comes in 3 shades, like I said. We have Fair to Light, which is what I have. Then there's Medium to Tan, and then Rich to Deep, which is the deepest shade. It retails for around $17, although I did find it on sale at eCosmetics for, I think it was $13-ish. So we're talking pretty much the most affordable, I think, that you can find on the market in general, because this is also 3 fluid ounces, which is 88 milliliters. So you're getting a substantial amount. It's SPF 50. It's a mineral tinted sunscreen, and it's about $17. I think that's a great deal. They do call this a BB or CC cream, and I would kind of agree with that. You do get pretty much light, medium to medium coverage, especially if you are using the correct amount, which is a 1/4 teaspoon. It does have a matte finish, which is just incredible, and I'm going to talk about that more later. And it is also water resistant for 80 minutes. So when we're talking about some people's holy grail sunscreens, this is kind of hitting a lot of the boxes. Now you might differ on the finish. Some people want more glowy, but a lot of people do want a more natural matte finish, so this would be a really good option. As far as our ingredients, there is 4% zinc oxide and 4% titanium dioxide, and it does not have beta-lactal salicylate. Okay, so this is the look. We have makeup on. I actually used a little bit of bronzer because I was feeling a little pale, especially compared to my neck. And then you see it's tanner, light, tanner. It's just the story of my life. And I don't want to put bronzer on here because I'm wearing a white silk shirt. So I do think I kind of went a little overboard on makeup today. I think this sunscreen has a little bit of a more coverage, like a makeup BB or CC cream coverage. So I kind of I don't know, I had it happens sometimes. So that's why I look like this. I don't think it looks bad, but it is a little bit more makeup than I wanted to wear today. Anyway, let's talk about some of the features of this sunscreen. First of all, like I said before, it's 80 minutes water resistant. I just feel you do not find that often with mineral sunscreens, just in general, and especially a tinted one that's matte. For me, this is kind of perfection, but I know that a lot of people also want something that is a little bit more glowy, which brings me to my next point. This is matte. This has dried to the touch. Not only does it look matte, but this has it feels like I powdered. And they do say that on the description, that it has a powdery finish. So that's another thing I absolutely love. But if you do have drier skin and you're maybe more prone to, I don't know, dry patches or fine lines showing throughout the day, this is probably not going to be the one for you. Which then leads me to my next point. Who is this for? What skin type? I would say this is for oily, combination oily. If you do want a more natural matte finish and you are normal balance like I am, it could also work for you. But if you are on the drier side, you're gonna need to skin prep. So The way that I do my sunscreen reviews, not just in the 14 days of sunscreen, but all the time, is I do them over a bare face. I don't want any outside factors like a different moisturizer that I use today versus one that I use tomorrow to influence the sunscreen. So my control is always that I do it on a bare face. That said, this might even be a little too matte for me on a normal day. So I would love this underneath my sunscreen, or not my sunscreen, my skincare, you know what I mean. And you can see it like when I smile, these fine lines here, they're definitely more pronounced, and I did not powder because you don't need to powder with this one. So if that's something that you're concerned about, you know, keep that in mind. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the tint. Now, I only got the lightest shade, which, you know, this is the shade for me. It's definitely a good fit, but it does oxidize, and that's pretty normal. So I do want to show you what I did, which is what I'm going to be doing every day. I put a swatch on my arm, and I'm going to zoom in and show you what it looks like. This has been sitting for about 10 minutes, and you can still see that it's actually still in the process of drying down, but it has oxidized, and I will show you it compared to a very new swatch. Okay, so this is the dried swatch, and now I'm going to put a little dot here, and we're going to test it out. Okay, so this is a great example. This is the sunscreen freshly applied. I just put it on light to fair or fair to light, whatever they call it. And this is what it looks like after about 10 minutes. This is like a medium shade. So if you are in the lightest, fairest of the skin tones, it's gonna look like this on you after you put it on. And I would kind of say that it probably won't work for you in that case. Okay, so I hope that swatch was helpful. I find them to be super helpful, even just for me, because like I should have probably not bronzed knowing that it's going to oxidize quite a bit. But you know, I'm not going anywhere. I work from home. I'm probably not going to see anyone today, so this is just what it looks like. The last thing I want to say before I give my final thoughts is this sunscreen does have an ingredient, and we're going to see it again in this series, but the ingredient is called Cyclopentasiloxane, which is a mouthful. This would be in the category of PEGs for ingredients, and a lot of people do not like this. There was kind of like a whole thing about PEGs a while back, and if you are in the clean beauty space, a lot of people just do not like them. What it is it's a silicone emulsifier, and it basically helps to reduce the greasy effect from some of the other ingredients. I don't mind it. Like, I'm not gonna like ingest it, of course. For me, it's not the biggest issue, but I do like to call out controversial? Why can't I say that word? Ingredients, you know what I mean. So this one does have it, and we will see it later in the series, like I said. Okay, so let me wrap this on up and give you my final thoughts. I think this is one of really the best, cheap, affordable sunscreens. Now, I do think that you have to be careful because it does say it's SPF 50, but you don't know what the UVA protection is from this. There's no PA rating on that. And UVA is typically a little bit lower in mineral sunscreens as well. So if you're gonna be wearing this like out to the beach all day, I don't know. Like me personally, I'm never gonna wear a mineral sunscreen on a beach day. That's just me. I need more UVA protection. I need something that's waterproof, which this is, but I just don't care. Like I don't need to be wearing makeup at the beach or the pool. So for me, if you are gonna be out all day, if you're not reapplying it every 2 hours, just be careful. Even though it is high protection, you may be still getting some UVA rays. But I think this is a really good sunscreen for a lot of people that kind of historically are not kind of counted for sunscreens, especially for mineral tinted sunscreens. A lot of them tend to veer to the side of very, very dewy, very glowy, that kind of thing. And so for people who have more oily combo skin and want something more matte, it's quite hard to find. So I do think that this one is going to be a good option for those of you who do want something more matte. Okay, I did want to do a transfer test because, like I said, this is absolutely dry to the touch. Like it feels like I powdered. So I want to see what's going on. Do you see that? Let's do the middle of my head where I am the oiliest. OMG. Okay, T-zone. Literally nothing. So transfer test, it passed. This is probably the only tinted mineral sunscreen that has passed a transfer test in my life. But it's probably not for dry skin unless you're gonna load up on your moisturizers, serums, and that kind of thing. I just think it's probably not for you, and you probably don't want this kind of finish. But for me personally, it's one of my absolute favorites. I remember loving it back in the day, but I hadn't had it in a long time. And I'm excited to have it back in my life. The last small caveat about this is it is sold in kind of like weird ways. Like it's not on the Australian Gold website, which is weird. I got it from eCosmetics, which is a reputable retailer. I will link that. I will link the reputable retailers. I wouldn't get it on Amazon, even though you never know. Like I know people say that they buy it from the storefront. I just don't do Amazon for sunscreens. I just don't. It's not worth getting a fake and not like really knowing. So for me, eCosmetics, $13 there, and they shipped pretty quickly. So I will link reputable retailers below. And if you have any questions, like always, let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 3. Bye.